Alright guys, this is going to be a very interesting build. This is the guts of Apollo, the shell of an Apollo, a Rapidstrike pusher, a Zeus flywheel cage, and a Zeus barrel. And a lot of you already know what time it is. It's rival Uzi time again. But this time it's going to be more of a rival submachine gun. I'm going to, for the sake of time, keep the back end of the shell here, print one of my stocks, slap it on there, and sell it. Yes, this one will be sold. It will have a Rapidstrike pusher with Zeus flywheel, so it's going to be fully automatic, powered by a bigger and better clickier switch. The flywheels will be mounted sideways this time. I know a lot of people pointed out how ugly that looked, that the trigger area was so small, so guess what? Now it's going sideways. This will be a true primary. Think khaos, but not as fast firing, but Zeus ranges with Apollo size, I guess. That's a really roundabout way of putting it. So I'm going to get to work here. Unfortunately, and this is the interesting part, it is 10:50 as I start this project at night, and I need it done by tomorrow morning. So I'm going to be doing everything with hand tools so as not to wake the people I live with. And yeah, we'll see how far I can get before the dawn breaks. First, I think I'm going to cut that portion off, take out this Apollo assembly, and this is surprisingly easy. I'm going to go at it with the handsaw right there, take out these little giblet things that hold, I don't know what they do, but I'm going to have to take those two things out, probably with brute force, and I'll get right back to you when I finish that. Alright, so here's the Apollo bit with the front end cut off and those weird little gappy thingies removed. Straight line shot there. And the other thing I wanted to show was this is the inside of a Rapidstrike pusher mechanism. I'm going to need to grease it back up. It's really dry, but I'm installing an MTB Rhino motor. And here's the pusher, which means I'll have to cut out this entire rear area here. And it seems as though my camera's out of focus. Well, can't fix it. So I'm going to have to, when I mount this, the Rhino takes power from the rear instead of the top, like the stock motor did in the Rapidstrike. So I'm going to have to cut out all of this by hand. Then add in that little gear, and we'll close it back up and we'll be good to go. I'll mount the pusher sideways like I did the other time with my other Uzi, and we'll just keep on trucking. So Rapidstrike pusher has been tacked in place with super glue. It's obviously set up at a slant, but you can see it's centered there. There's going to be a gap here at the top of the Apollo, which is a pain in the butt, but it'll have to stay there until I can find maybe an old slide priming bar or something, I don't know. But next up I'm going to figure out how to get the flywheels up in here. I'm going to have to cut off this rear section of the wheels themselves, mount them sideways, one of the two ways, start printing a cage to go over these because they're going to be really scary, like they'll cut you. Mount it in there, tack it on with glue somehow. I don't know, I'm figuring it out as I go. I'll let you know when I get something else. Alright, the next big thing that I've done is installed the trigger, which is just the switch. I get switches that have really long arms, so I just bend it into a trigger shape. So that is very clicky, very responsive. 3 prongs here, so I'll be able to enable braking like I did last time. Flywheels and pusher motor will all be done up on the same wire, so when you pull the trigger, off it goes, firing everything it's got. Let's try to position the flywheels. Unfortunately, they're going to have to go upside down. I don't really like that they'll have to go upside down, but that's the only way I can figure for them to fit. I've cut off a tray of sorts from the original barrel of the Apollo. Hopefully it'll sit like so, and the flywheels will sit on top of that, and nothing will interfere with the trigger or switch. Let's keep going. I'll figure out where to put this, and then I'll get right back to you. Alright, so the motors are mounted upside down, just tacked on by glue over here. Not permanent yet, but you'll notice everything that I'm gluing on to this half of the shell, so this can still be pulled away to fix jams or repairs. The barrel / the hop-up flap has been installed. You'll see it's kind of got a downward angle, but that'll be fixed. It's under the weight of the motors. The motors are quite heavy, of course. Let's see. Next, I guess I'll have to take this cover off, start wiring, and then I'll get on to placing this in the shell and cutting out the holes in the shell for the side of the flywheels. Alright, time for the big test. So this is wired up to have braking on it. Flywheels are hooked up to the motor, and everything's hooked up to a 2-cell LiPo down there. And pull the trigger. It works wonderfully. Let's try to shove it all into a shell now. Well, I didn't quite make it last night. I was up to about 1:30, but printed off these half-circle covers, so those will glue onto the side like that. I've got 4 of them, top and bottom, for left and right side. And I'm going to cover this up with probably a Zeus, accessory rail. And yeah, I'll just glue this on, putty it up, and find some paint for it. Hello world, I'm sorry my voice is kind of messed up. I actually just got back from an SCNC war this morning at 3 a.m. So I'm a little tired, my voice is completely yelled out from that. But I'm here to show you my, I guess I would call it basically an MP7. It's just like my Nike. Drac calls it a Nike 2.0, and he'll have a video which I will link down there somewhere. And it's basically like that full auto rifle pistol I made, but the flywheels from a Zeus have been turned sideways, left to right. It still has the Rapidstrike pusher in here, and I kept the rear end of this so it can have stock, so it's more of a submachine gun. The stock comes off, and in the back there is a 3S LiPo, and just like my Nike, you pull the trigger to shoot. That's it. There's no revving. It revs when it shoots. That was everything, So really, the only outstanding features of this, of course, it's an Apollo with the Zeus flywheels and Rapidstrike pusher. The Rapidstrike pusher has a Rhino 130 motor from MTB, Make Test Battle. The stock is my Apollo stock from my Apollo pump grip kit that's 3D printed. And these flywheel cages are 3D printed, or not cages, covers. And I'm going to be completely honest, I am selling this one, and that putty work is just thrown on there. I didn't take the time to sand it down or anything. This is a very utilitarian blaster. I don't know if you can see that. I painted the covers and the putty and these plates on the top all black so they don't stand out as much. But they are not sanded down. This is not, a super smooth integration or modification by any means, but it works, and it works beautifully. Drac, again, has a video of it. I don't know if anybody's got a video of me using it, but I did use it in the last round of SCNC, and I was the second to last person alive with this baby. It's a brilliant blaster. That's just about it. Of course, completely rewired. This switch here, this trigger is actually the long arm of the switch. That switch is, I can't remember, it's too early for this, but it's a big switch. It's very clicky. Yeah, that's it. Let me turn the camera around and shoot it some. Alright, here we are in the quote-unquote firing range, also known as my backyard. It's my very creepy van off to the side there. This is MP7 Rival Nike 2.0, whatever you want to call it, with a 12-round magazine, firing and range test, aiming where I usually aim, shooting how I usually shoot. In 3, 2, 1. Wow. That's all of them, for sure. Now, completely honest with you, because I think honesty is a very important thing. Let me just tip the camera here. There's a ball right there. See the tip of my finger? The ball just kind of plopped out, and that's the only real disadvantage with my Nike setup, is that because it revs when it shoots, you don't really get that spin up time, and the first shot is usually very weak.
That's maybe 10 feet away from where I fired from. The other ones, I don't know if I can, it's a 32x zoom, but I don't know if I can see any of them. The other ones are way out here. Oh, there's one. See it in the center of the screen there? That is well over 100 feet, and I'm going to go do my pace test right now and show you how far out that went. Alright, starting from that line. It's 2, 4, 6. I misspoke, that's about 7 feet. 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46, 48, 50, 52, here's another. 54, 56, 58, 60, 62, 64, 66, 68, 70. Here's that shed again. 72, 74, 76, 78, 80, 82, 84, 86, 88, 90. That one's more like 91. 92, 94, 96, 98, 100, 102, 104, 106, 108. And it's more like 109 right there. Looks like the furthest shot got 109 feet. Roughly, give or take. I'm not seeing anything else out here. I know I didn't pick them all up, but that's the only issue I've got with rivals. They bury under the grass when you fire them, and it's impossible to find all of them every time. Let's go ahead and fire a few at the camera now. Now I do want to point out that while it is accurate because it is rival, this isn't meant for 1-2 shots, you know, 2 shots here, 2 shots there. This is a suppressive, kind of a front lines type of blaster. I ran this with a team of 2 other players who were using Zeus's, and we were completely wrecking everything. It was pretty great. But this is me firing at the camera full auto instead of burst, because again, when you pull the trigger, that first shot is usually fairly weak. So I'm just going to hold it down until I empty it. Going out 30 feet here. That's pretty hard to see. Wow, that was all of them. And look at me, I've got a chronograph because I'm cool, and all Nerf YouTubers for some reason have chronographs. If you don't know what this is, this measures the FPS of blasters. Now, the Nerf rival line gets fairly high FPSs as it is, but this should give you a pretty good idea of how powerful a blaster is. Let me just tip this down a bit. Basically how it works is there's a sensor in front and a sensor in the back. It senses a projectile flying over and measures the time between them and then calculates the feet per second that the projectile traveled. Full disclosure time, because this just fires when you pull the trigger and it does not have time to rev, I will be firing 1 round at a time, revving first and then putting the magazine in. That will give me the absolute highest FPS, because the chronograph will only read the first shot, and the first shot will be absolute crap, because that's just how it is. There's no rev up time. So let's switch it on here. Hopefully it behaves. I got it yesterday. Isn't this fancy? Alright, here we go. Well, we gotta do this now. 103.5. I'm running 12 rounds through, but I have to reload single shots every time. 117.9. 102.5. 3.5. One of these is probably going to bounce off that plywood in the back and hit me in the face. 94.6. 114.1. You start to see yellow powder on the front of the chronograph. That is not pollen, that is parts of rival balls being chewed apart by the flywheels and plastered all over the place. 113.3. Ah, shot a little off the side there. That one didn't register. 113 even. LiPo 7.7. Shot 12 seconds. 3.1. And that's actually 10 shots instead of 12, and because I like doing easy math, we're going to leave it there. But you can see it's getting mid-hundreds to the low 110 ranges, which is pretty comparable for a Zeus, except this one's full auto. And it's a lot slimmer package and is a lot more compact, and I personally prefer it if you're going to do full auto anything.